Hello and welcome to Phantom Forces Weapons Spotlight, a series where I give a more subdued and informative look on the weapons of Phantom Forces. In this episode, I'll be covering the newly reworked Groza-1. The Groza-1 is a bullpup carbine unlocked at rank 42. It deals 37 damage up to 40 studs and falls off to 24 damage by 140 studs. It fires at 750 RPM with a standard 1x body multiplier and a 1.4x head multiplier. The muzzle velocity is 2400 studs per second, and the penetration depth is 1.5 studs. Here is a shots to kill table. It has medium recoil with a lot of horizontal recoil, and it holds 30 rounds in the magazine with 120 rounds in reserve of 7.62 by 39mm rounds. The reload speed is 2.5 seconds and the empty reload speed is 3.5 seconds. It has a standard 14 walk speed and pretty fast 18 aim speed. The Groza-1 is a very solid, high-power carbine that could take a little bit of getting used to. It can 3-shot kill to the body at close range and a bit into medium range at 750 RPM, which is pretty good. The numbers add up to a very good gun, but like all guns, there is a caveat to this. The recoil is a bit bad. It has one of the highest horizontal camera kick out of every automatic in the game, in addition to a little bit of rotational kick. What this means is that while it has some very impressive range, it's very inconsistent when it comes to hitting shots at range. I recommend using the Groza-1 on smaller maps where you don't really have to engage anyone beyond 100 studs, and under those conditions, the Groza-1 is very strong indeed. There's not really much else to say. I would put this carbine in A tier. Hell, if it wasn't for the recoil, I would put this in S tier. Also, I am aware that I'm not really showcasing the effectiveness of the gun very well in the background footage, but trust me on this, I've had way better games. It's a good weapon. Okay, moving on to conversions, we have a few to go over. The 5.45 by 39 Groza-2 conversion lowers your damage and gives you a big magazine. It now deals 35 damage up to 40 studs and falls off to 20 damage by 120 studs. The fire rate and multipliers stay the same, but the muzzle velocity is reduced to 1920 studs per second, and the penetration depth is reduced to 1 stud. Here is the shots to kill table. It has medium recoil, but this time it's a lot of rotational kick, and it holds 45 rounds in a magazine with 135 rounds in reserve of 5.45 by 39mm rounds. The reload speed is increased to 3.2 seconds and the empty reload speed 4.5 seconds. The walk speed and aim speed remain the same. Yeah, this conversion basically turns the Groza-1 into something like an LMG. Okay, I mean it's basically a discount LMG with fast carbine mobility, and it plays as interesting as it sounds. You have a pretty big mag and pretty good damage, and you can run around maps like a regular assault rifle or carbine. In general, it's a very fun weapon to use with two relatively minor downsides. Number one, the reload speed is a bit slow for 45 rounds, and number two, the recoil is a little unique. It no longer has that awful horizontal camera kick, but now you have a lot of rotational kick, just in general. The gun, you can see the gun visibly swing all over the place when you fire. But this doesn't mean that it's bad at range though. It just looks bad, but trust me, it doesn't feel that bad. Plus, you have a big magazine anyway, so you can just spray people down at range if you have to. Using this conversion on smaller maps, on King of the Hill, or Hardpoint is a whole lot of fun, and it's like it was basically designed for these game modes even. Overall, I give the Groza-2 an A tier as well, right next to the default Groza-1. It is, again, a very solid weapon. The 5.56 NATO Groza-3 conversion gives you a low recoil, precision focused conversion. It now deals 33 damage up to 50 studs and falls off to 19 damage by 120 studs. The fire rate is reduced to 700 RPM, and the body multipliers remain the same, but the head multiplier is increased to 1.5 times. The muzzle velocity is increased to 2760 studs per second, and the penetration depth is reduced to 1 stud. Here is the shots to kill table. It now has low recoil and it holds 30 rounds in the magazine with 120 rounds in reserve of 5.45 NATO rounds. The reload speed, walk speed, and aim speed remain the same as per the default stats. As I've briefly said earlier, this conversion turns the Groza-1 into a precise long-range laser, pretty much. It's got low recoil on both camera and rotational kick, which also has lower damage as a trade-off. And I don't really have much more to say about this conversion, like it's kinda straightforward. It's basically built for larger maps like Bravad or Desert Storm. Just point it towards someone and it can comfortably engage people up to like, hell, 200 studs. It's just that accurate. Close range performance is kinda subpar though, because it's a 4-shot kill at 700 RPM, but it's not really the point of the conversion, so I can't really blame it too much. Do try to aim for the head at every occasion though, you have a higher head multiplier now. And yet again, I would like to rate the Groza-3 as a very solid A-tier weapon. And that concludes this episode of Phantom Force's Weapon Spotlight. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel as it helps a lot. Thank you for watching, and see you next time, and Happy New Year's!